Today marks the 222nd anniversary of the birth of James Brooke, the English adventurer who would go on to become the first White Raja of Sarawak, a region on the island of Borneo now part of Malaysia. Born on April 29, 1803, in Sikroore near Benares, India, Brooke's life was one of adventure, ambition, and a unique form of colonial rule that left an indelible mark on the history of Southeast Asia. Brooke's early life saw him serve in the Bengal Army of the British East India Company. However, after sustaining a severe wound, he resigned his commission and embarked on a fateful voyage in 1838. His travels led him to Sarawak, a territory then under the loose control of the Sultanate of Brunei and plagued by rebellion and piracy. Capitalizing on the unrest, Brooke intervened in a local dispute, assisting the Sultan's representative in quelling a revolt. As a reward for his services, in 1841, Brooke was granted the governorship of Sarawak, a territory stretching from Tanjung Datu to the Batang Samarahan. This marked the beginning of the Brooke Raj, a dynasty that would rule Sarawak for over a century. James Brooke's rule was characterized by his efforts to suppress piracy and headhunting which were prevalent in the region. He established a legal code, fostered trade, and maintained a relatively benevolent, albeit firm, control over the diverse indigenous populations. Unlike many colonial powers of the time, Brooke adopted a paternalistic approach, respecting local customs and traditions while implementing reforms he deemed necessary for progress and stability. He even famously established the Sarawak Regatta, an annual boat race intended to foster sportsmanship and resolve tribal disputes peacefully. His actions, however, were not without controversy. Critics in Britain questioned his methods and the extent of his personal power. Nevertheless, within Sarawak, he was largely regarded with awe and respect by many of the local communities. Brooke never married and had no legitimate heirs. Upon his death in 1868, his nephew, Charles Brooke, succeeded him as the second White Raja, continuing the dynasty's rule. Charles further expanded Sarawak's territory and developed its infrastructure. The third and final White Raja, Charles Viner Brooke, eventually ceded Sarawak to the British Crown in 1946, marking the end of the Brooke dynasty's reign. Today, the legacy of James Brooke and the White Rajas is still keenly felt in Sarawak. Historical buildings, forts built to defend the kingdom, and museums stand as testaments to their era. The Brooke dynasty's approach to governance, which sought to balance development with the protection of indigenous cultures, continues to be a subject of historical interest and debate. On this 222nd anniversary of his birth, James Brooke remains a fascinating and complex figure, an adventurer who carved out his own kingdom and whose impact on Sarawak continues to shape its identity in the 21st century. His story serves as a unique chapter in the history of colonialism and the enduring relationship between the West and Southeast Asia.